This young man was not thirsty, but even so he struggled to crawl to the edge of the river. When he reached his hand into the water, the wound on his hand began to heal rapidly, and thus he gained superhuman abilities. Whenever danger approached, he only needed to wave his hand and could transform nearby water sources into giant waves several meters high. However, he did not know that he was the illegitimate son of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Legend had it that there were 3 great gods in the world: Zeus, the god of the sky, Poseidon, the god of the sea, and Hades, the god of the underworld. Under their rule, there had been no war for hundreds of years, but the days of peace were monotonous. These gods would secretly visit the human world. After falling in love with humans, their illegitimate half-human, half-god children were born. Percy was the son of Poseidon and a human woman. Although he had never seen his father, he showed surprising talents from a young age. He could hold his breath underwater for more than 10 hours, which left his friends astonished. On that day, the school organized a visit to the Museum of the Gods. The principal suddenly called him into a room. Percy could only follow her with a resigned expression, having no idea that his destiny was about to change completely. As soon as he entered the room, the principal climbed up a 5-meter-high shelf. Then, she transformed into a mythological creature and started attacking him. The creature said that Percy had stolen the Master Bolt, but he had no idea what she was talking about. At the critical moment, Percy's friend and teacher appeared in the room. The teacher threatened the creature. Thus, she released Percy and fled through the museum window. It turned out that a few days earlier, Zeus's Master Bolt had been stolen, and someone had cruelly slandered Poseidon, accusing his son Percy of being the thief. Zeus threatened to declare war on Poseidon. If the Master Bolt was not returned within 14 days, not only would Percy go to hell, but everyone connected to him would as well. To ensure his son Percy's safety, Poseidon sent 2 guardians. The boy was confused and never imagined that his best friend, with whom he spent every day, was his guardian. At that moment, the teacher had no time to explain and handed Percy a pen as his identity was exposed. And now the only solution was to send him to Camp Half-Blood for refuge. Grover acted immediately and took Percy. First, they returned to Percy's house, picked up his mother, and fled quickly. On the way, Sally, Percy's mother, finally revealed his lineage to him, but he had no sympathy for this father he had never met. His mother explained that his father actually didn't want to leave them, but Zeus had already ordered that no god could contact children in the human world. However, before his mother could finish speaking, a cow fell from the sky. Consequently, the car the 3 of them were in flipped over. After a moment of confusion, they managed to calm down, but Percy saw hundreds of cows approaching them. Then Grover took off his pants, revealing his identity as a satyr, and with a kick he broke the car window. At the same time, a minotaur was approaching. The 3 of them got up and fled hastily. They finally managed to reach Camp Half-Blood. However, since Sally was human, she was prevented from entering the camp. She knew she couldn't pass through the barrier, but Percy insisted. The next moment, the minotaur grabbed his mother and with a little force, turned her into ashes. Furious, Percy decided to avenge his mother, but the difference in power left him completely helpless. Then, the bull charged at him at full speed. However, the boy managed to dodge, and the minotaur crashed into a large tree, getting its horns stuck in it. With great effort, Percy tore off the horns and, taking advantage of the opportunity, he drove them into the monster's heart, finally getting rid of it. However, Percy fainted due to the great exhaustion. He slept deeply for 3 days. When he woke up, he thought everything that had happened before was a dream. But when he saw his friend's strong, hairy legs, he realized it was all real. Sally had indeed been killed by the Minotaur. After grieving, Percy decided that he needed to find Zeus to seek justice. But before that, he needed to undergo training at Camp Half-Blood. Only then could he avenge his mother's death. While familiarizing himself with the place, Percy was deeply attracted by a dazzling figure, a beautiful girl. It was Annabeth, the illegitimate daughter of Athena, the goddess of wisdom. During a combat training, the two soon started to fight. Although it was training, Annabeth wasn't going easy on him, and Percy was beaten by her. When everyone mocked him, saying he didn't know what he was doing, a mysterious voice emerged in Percy's ears, saying that water would give him power. Following the voice's guidance with much difficulty, he reached his hand into the water. The clear water quickly healed all his wounds. Feeling filled with an unknown strength when he stood up again, he defeated all the opponents around him in no time. He then defeated Annabeth and instantly won the girl's heart. However, while they were celebrating his training victory that day, the camp's tranquil fire expanded. Hades, the god of the underworld, appeared in the mortal world and threw hellfire at the place, causing much destruction. He then got straight to the point. In fact, Percy's mother was not dead. As long as Percy handed over the Master Bolt to Hades, he could bring her back. Although Percy didn't know where the Master Bolt was, he had to go to the underworld to save his mother, so he took advantage of everyone sleeping and planned to leave the camp alone. Grover and Annabeth suddenly appeared and decided to help him. Under Annabeth's guidance, the three of them found Luke, the illegitimate son of Hermes, the messenger god of Mount Olympus. Only he knew where the entrance to the underworld was. In fact, entering the underworld was very simple. The real challenge was getting out of there alive. They needed to find 3 green pearls to get out of the underworld. With that, Luke gave Percy a pair of flying shoes and a shield. The next day, the 3 followed the map and arrived at the location of the first green pearl. It appeared to be an antique shop. There were strange things everywhere. Grover was shocked to discover that one of the statues looked a lot like his uncle, even down to the identical birthmark on his forehead. Remembering his uncle's unjust death, Grover panicked, realizing they were in Medusa's lair. The moment Medusa took off her sunglasses, everyone immediately closed their eyes. A woman who was with them took just one look and was turned to stone. Medusa tried to induce the others to open their eyes. In a moment of distraction, Percy managed to cut off her head with an attack. He then removed the first green pearl from Medusa's wrist. He also took Medusa's head, thinking it might be useful in the next battle. The second pearl's location was on a statue of Athena, but there were many tourists visiting the site. The 3 could only hide in the bathroom and wait until night to act. Percy used the flying shoes to get a boost and easily take the pearl from the statue. It seemed this operation was not so difficult, but as they were about to leave, the museum's caretakers appeared. They said they had been waiting for Percy and that to let him go, he only needed to hand over the Master Bolt. The boy said he didn't have the bolt. The 3 young people didn't expect that the next moment, the caretakers would transform into a multi-headed monster. The 3 were frightened and ran. Percy grabbed his shield and tried to resist, but the heat from the flames was too intense. The hot shield burned his skin. He used the nearby water to extinguish the fire and then had an idea. He concentrated and created a water barrier, temporarily blocking the Hydra. However, Percy was not the god of the sea and was quickly overwhelmed by the Hydra. In desperation, Grover took Medusa's head and used it to turn the Hydra to stone. With that, they managed to get a large Hydra statue easily. After this challenge, they set off for the next location. The third pearl's location was in a casino in Las Vegas. As soon as they entered, they were approached by 2 waitresses. They invited them to try the house specialties, and they ate without a care. However, they didn't remember the saying that there's no such thing as a free lunch. What they ate actually contained a very strong substance. The 3 young people who were in a hurry got excited by the place and forgot about their quest for the pearls. They soon gave in to endless joy and pleasure. Fortunately, the voice appeared again just in time, saying that Percy didn't need the flower and to regain his senses, so he snapped back to reality and woke up his friends. They finally managed to obtain the third pearl. However, the casino staff also discovered them. They quickly grabbed a car inside the casino and drove it. Despite the place being crowded, no one was hurt, and thus they escaped. The 3 followed the map, and thanks to the car, they significantly reduced their travel time. This way, they found the entrance to the underworld. After bribing the messenger, they were taken across by boat. They quickly found Hades, Percy's uncle. Hades welcomed him enthusiastically and asked him to hand over the Master Bolt. If he got the bolt, he could defeat his brother Zeus and control Mount Olympus, escaping the monotonous life of the underworld. Percy explained that he didn't steal the Master Bolt, which made Hades furious. His true nature frightened the boy. He said that if Percy didn't hand over the bolt, he could say goodbye to his mother. Since Hades was the god of the underworld, Sally's soul gradually emerged. Percy dropped the shield and ran towards his mother. At that moment, Hades saw the bolt inside the shield's cavity. This entire situation was actually a conspiracy by Luke. He wanted to provoke a war among the gods to destroy them and take control, but Hades didn't know that. After obtaining the bolt, he planned to throw the 3 into the 18th level of the underworld. However, Persephone grabbed the bolt and attacked Hades, sending him flying. She was tired of Hades' cruelty and knew that the gods' war would only lead to destruction, so she handed the bolt to Percy, asking him to go to Mount Olympus to stop Zeus. However, when Percy and the others were about to leave, they realized that now they were 4 people after saving his mother, but only had 3 pearls. This meant one of them would have to stay behind. Originally, Percy planned to stay, but Grover, as a guardian, decided to sacrifice himself. Percy promised to find a way to save him later, so they crushed the pearls and left for Mount Olympus. It was not hard to imagine the torments Grover would face. Percy and the others arrived at the entrance to the Mountain of the Gods. Luke, who had been prepared for a long time, suddenly appeared and kicked Percy away. Then he took the Master Bolt, and with it, gained a great advantage. Percy and his companions had no chance against him. At one point, Percy once again invoked the power of the sea god within him. The water tanks around them began to explode in sequence, forming a huge wave. Luke tried to continue fighting but was hit by Percy's powerful technique. When the water receded, Luke still wanted to fight, so Percy summoned the sea god's trident. With one attack, Luke was sent to the bottom of the sea. However, the danger was not over yet. There were only 2 minutes left before the deadline agreed upon by Zeus and Poseidon. The gods were furiously arguing on Mount Olympus, with Poseidon and Athena trying to calm them down. However, Zeus, stubborn as always, completely ignored their pleas. The gods' war was about to begin, but Percy appeared and went to the gods. He handed the bolt to Zeus and told the truth about the incident. Then Zeus realized he had misunderstood Percy. To redeem himself, he agreed to free Grover from the underworld. Then, Percy and his father had a conversation. In the end, he forgave his father for leaving without explanation. Father and son resolved their differences. When Percy returned to the camp, his friend had already been saved by Zeus, and Percy and Annabeth began a happy life together.